Welcome back to Sports and Spirits, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. What's that like? 5 or 6 of them? There's 5 or 6 OG people that watch the full podcast. We're just praying for the day that we get to 1,000. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
And we will.
We'll
do it.
Yeah.
Just give us some time. Okay.
Yeah.
Once the new studio hits and everything starts, humming like it's supposed to, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But to you OGs who have been here from the start, we appreciate you, okay? Don't you forget where it all started.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is your first time listening, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Maybe like this video. Check us out on the other social media channels. We've got a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of fantasy forecasting, different things like that. So you want to check us out across everything because that's where it all comes out. And later on in the episode, we're going to get into this Wilderness Trail single barrel that 2 of us got to pick.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little more of that later in the episode. But until then, let's kick it off, no pun intended, with some NFL.
Yeah. So as you guys are watching this, there's 3 weeks to go in the regular season. Obviously, so these are all very, very important games for seeding, playoff positioning, teams that want to sneak in the wild card, but also just they're important for fantasy purposes, everything involved. So, like, these are very big games for everybody. So, starting on Thursday night, you have the Seahawks hosting the Rams. Absolutely a must-watch game for me.
This is huge.
This game could ultimately decide who wins not just their division, but maybe even who gets the number 1 seed in the NFC. This division, by far, this year has been the best division in football with the Rams, the Seahawks, the 49ers. And then, although the Cardinals on paper have a not so great record, they're not an easy team to beat either because they score a lot of points on offense.
Right.
So that's been the toughest division in football, and this is a must-watch game for anybody that loves football because it's going to be a close one. What's your thoughts? Who do you like in this one in Seattle?
I'm going with my boy, Rams, Stafford. He's going to put this one away.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where he's at. He's going to do it.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I like Sam Darnold kind of proving that, maybe he's not just a fluke from last year and winning the big one. I also think the Rams will be hurt with no Devontae Adams on the field in this game. I think it really limits them in terms of their upside.
Yep.
And the Seahawks are really good at stopping the run. So Kyron Williams and Blake Corum will have a tough time getting going in this one, and it could be really cold. Stafford, although he's very experienced playing cold weather, being that he played in the NFC North for so long, I like Seattle.
Here's the thing. They both have the same record right now.
Correct.
11-3.
Yep.
The Seahawks are on a 4-game win streak.
Correct.
The Rams are only on a 2-game win streak.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the interesting stat. At home, the Sea Chickens are 5-2.
Yep.
Rams away, 5-2.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Which one will win? We'll see. I like Seattle. He's got the Rams, and we'll check in next week and see who's right.
That's right.
But yeah, either way, must watch football.
Let us know in the comments too.
Yeah, who you think? And then this week, you'll have 2 games on Saturday.
Let's go. Really?
Yeah, it's an interesting slate just because they're kind of getting into that dry part of the year in terms of like action.
Sure.
They try to like split it up a little bit. So on
How do
Saturday,
you think the players and teams like that?
it's actually as a player, and it would be interesting because it like changes your routine, but also then it can give you an extra day of rest for the following week.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean? So like obviously you play a day early, but then the following week you get an extra day.
Yeah.
So there's that involved. And going into the end of the season, any chance you can have extra rest before those big matchups,
Sure.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an Eagles team that have to go on the road this week against the Commanders and Saturday afternoon. I like your chances any day that you play. It doesn't matter if it's a day early. I like your odds in that one either way. So I'm fine with that. I think the Eagles absolutely romp them in this one. No Jane Daniels the rest of the way. So I like the Eagles in this one by about 20. I think that's honestly understatement. And then in the nightcap, this is a huge game, which I didn't think we'd talk about this game being huge when I saw the schedule release this year. But you have the Bears hosting the Packers.
Huge.
And that a game could eventually decide wins the NFC North.
Basically.
I mean, you're looking at it as if Bears win this game, they pretty much lock up the North.
They're pretty locked up.
You know, and so it's crazy to say because I think going into the season they were like plus 1,400 odds to just win the division.
Yeah.
And now and it might even been more than that if I'm not mistaken, to be honest. And now you're looking at, oh, that's not even that shocking to me anymore.
Right.
After watching them this year,
Yep.
they just do it the old school way.
Yep.
You know, and
Just
they
keep pounding it.
pound the rock, you know, control the clock, and just win the games that are close.
And it's working.
It's working. It's working. So
Neither of them have a win streak.
well, I mean, yeah, the Bears just won one. Yeah, right. So
And the Packers just lost one.
yes, and they also lost the best defensive player on their team. So I don't like their odds in this one.
No.
I'm gonna go with the Bears.
I'm going with the Bears with you. It'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, and then let's transition into our Sunday slate. This one gets a little bit more exciting. Obviously, you have the Vikings go on the road against the Giants, and what I believe is a matchup of two of the best young quarterbacks and the up and coming quarterbacks. We'll say,
sure,
not proven yet. Jackson Dart and JJ McCarthy. Obviously, there's not a lot on the line in regards to playoff teams, anything like that. But one thing that is on the line, as the Giants right now have the opportunity to have the number 1 overall pick in this next year's draft. So although they want to win the game, I'm sure some of them want them to lose.
Yeah.
You know, but because there's a lot of value, because obviously they're not in the market for a quarterback. Sure. They got their guy. Yeah. I believe Jackson Dart's their guy. So having that number 1 pick is really important because it's a very valuable trade piece.
Yep.
You know, a team that, you know, is looking for a quarterback might have to trade up to number 1 and take a guy, whereas the Raiders, if the Raiders end up getting the number 1 overall pick, well, I think the Raiders are taking a quarterback.
For sure.
So, I mean, it changes the draft entirely. So that'd be a good one to tune into nonetheless. And then you have the Panthers hosting the Bucks in a game that has a ton of implications on who wins that NFC South, as they are currently tied. And they play each other this week, and then they also play each other in week 18.
Dang.
So this division is far from being wrapped up. But we'll see. I think this is going to be one that most people just expect the Bucks to win, and they could, but they should have won the last 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They should have won their last 2 games. So, well, I mean, the Panthers could scare people. They have a good run game. They could win this game. So we'll see.
I believe in them.
I do too. So, but in the afternoon slate, you have the Broncos hosting the Jags, and the Jags are. And both these teams are coming off big wins last week. Obviously, you got the Broncos beating the Packers, and then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars beating a maybe not so good Jets team.
Have they been good at all this year?
No, awful.
Yeah.
But just being modest.
Yeah. Just trying to be kind.
Yeah, you know. But the Jaguars, although they've looked really good these last couple weeks, I think this is the one where they come down to normalcy. I think this is the game where that Broncos defense really solidifies themselves as being like legit, and a victory here all but pretty much wraps it up for me as the Broncos being the team that gets the number 1 seed in the AFC. But watch out, Jacksonville has a good team. They create a lot of turnovers on defense. They have a lot of offensive firepower, but those guys aren't having those fantasy numbers this week like they did last week.
No.
Jets defense and the Broncos defense are 2 different animals.
Broncos are on fire.
Yeah, so we'll see. But sometimes it's good to be humbled too, to lose a game, because, you know, going into the playoffs, you don't like to be on like a big 14 or 15 game win streak. You know what I mean?
They're on an 11-game win streak.
Yeah, they're on 11, so we'll see.
12-2 record, best record in the NFL right now.
Yep.
Yikes.
Yeah, and they won a lot of games that were like controversial and really close.
Right.
And so that was the same thing that happened for a few teams these last few years, that and then ended up being all you needed to do.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to get there. And then also you have the Lions hosting the Steelers.
The old Lions.
You know, obviously that's a big one just because both teams are trying to, you know, one's leading their division, the other one's trying to stay in playoff contention in the wild card race. I like the Lions in this one.
No, they could still do it.
Yeah, I like the Lions in this one. I think they, you know, coming off a really tough loss against a really good Rams team, I think they figure things out. And I don't want to say it. I don't want to speak it into existence because I play him in one league, but this is probably a big Jahmyr Gibbs game.
Ooh.
You know, he had a really quiet afternoon on Saturday or on Sunday, and I just got that weird feeling that this is one of those 35-point games out of Jahmyr Gibbs that just cost me a couple fantasy matchups. But it is what it is. You can't control it. He is a really good player, and the Steelers have been suspect at times to the run. So
yeah, the Lions almost have to win this one to be in it.
Pretty much, yeah. There's just a lot of conjugated teams in that same record.
Yep.
But yeah, and then on Sunday night,
here we go.
Sunday Night Football, you have the Ravens hosting the Patriots in what I believe will be the game of the week. This is my this is my game of the week.
Yeah, battle.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, you obviously have two teams that on paper, we maybe not would have talked about them in where the Patriots being the better record than the Ravens. We probably would have said the other way around.
Sure.
We probably would have predicted that the Ravens had a better odds of being like 11-3 than the Patriots would be. Obviously, the Ravens had dealt with some injuries this year, but this is a game that if the Ravens want to make the playoffs, they have to win.
Yeah,
they absolutely have to win. They play the Steelers in Week 18, and I think they got to win out basically to have a chance to make the playoffs.
It's looking that way.
Yeah. So in terms of how that works out, and then with the Patriots coming off a tough loss, you don't want that to spiral into multiple.
Exactly.
You don't want to finish the season with like 3 or 4 losses out of your last 4 games, and then you're kind of on a downhill spiral going into the playoffs. So
those boys got to win this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, especially with their chances to potentially get a bye and winning that division, they could secure a division victory with this one.
Yep.
So it'll be a close one. It'll be a good game. Definitely the game of the week for me. A lot of fantasy players going on.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Do you play Lamar against a tough Patriots defense? I think you have to. They have to win. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you're in the playoffs, you got to pull out all the stops.
Yeah, don't get cute with it. You got to stick with the guys that either that got you there or didn't get you there, or that you drafted high. Just stick with them and let them rock.
Yep.
But that would be a good game. And then on Monday night, you have the Colts hosting the 49ers.
The Colts, man.
Yeah.
Where did they go?
Well, I mean, they've had some injury issues, obviously, with 44-year-old Philip Rivers playing last week. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles.
Old dynamite.
It's a must game. It's a must win for both teams. I think the 49ers have these last 3 games they have to finish the season are very, very difficult. They have one of the toughest schedules in football these last 3 weeks. So getting a win here on Monday night against the team that they should beat with Philip Rivers at quarterback is essential. At the very least, to set up for a potential playoff run. I said from the beginning, the only thing that scares me on that 49ers team is that defense not having as many of their stud players because they're out with injury. But that offense is finally starting to look a little bit healthier with George Kittle back, Juwan Jennings scoring touchdowns.
Yep.
It's been...
Like you said earlier in the last episode, the NFC West is pretty stacked.
Yes, it is.
It's kind of like when we talk about the NHL and the Wilds division.
Correct.
It's stacked.
Yes.
Like 11-3, 11-3, 10-4, the top 3 teams, and 49ers being the 10-4.
And I will make a bold statement: the team that comes out of the NFC comes out of that division.
I'd agree.
I think that I don't know who wins the NFC this year, but I like the Rams a lot. If Devontae Adams can come back healthy, I like them a lot. But I think the winner of that division, whoever gets that number 1 seed in the NFC, that's the team to beat.
I'm with you.
I like their odds over Philly, and I like their odds over Chicago, and those are the
feeling
teams.
Rams Broncos, baby.
I think so, and I believe I may or may not have called that one.
You might have called that one. Yeah. We'll have to look back in the footage.
I'll have to check back like 6 weeks ago, but I did kind of call that one, so we'll see.
Rock and roll, baby.
Yeah.
That is our NFL forecast coverage for y'all. Let us know who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. Just do it.
Yeah.
In the comments below, just throw it in there. Who do you think is going to take this bad
What's your
boy?
Super Bowl prediction? Actually, let's hear that. I'd love to hear that.
With 3 weeks left in the season, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into more fantasy football coverage,
Yep.
we're going to try this incredible spirit right here.
Let's do it.
Brought to us by 7-8's Liquor.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick this bad boy up down there in Bloomington.
Not a lot left.
Not much left, but this bad boy is a banger.
It is.
A banger at a really banging price.
Right.
Like, it's astonishing how good it is for that price.
Yes, it is.
And it's not that crazy old.
No. Yeah, so obviously the bottle we're talking about here is Wilderness Trail, and they were purchased by the Wild Turkey family about 1.5 years ago. So you're starting to see them more in a lot of markets, and their niche and their stitch is that they believe that their juice doesn't have to be super old to be really good.
Why is that?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
The guys who started Wild Turkey
Yep.
were basically genetic engineers.
Yes.
And very big into genetically modifying yeast. And so they were able to modify yeast to a point where they can do what other yeast can do in a shorter amount of time.
Correct.
Like they basically modified this yeast to make whiskey taste good in less time.
Yes.
So that's kind of how that one came to be. And we got to try like 3 samples of this bad boy. No, four different ones because it's two 2 of this regular bourbon, then we did 2 rye.
Yeah, if
And
you
we
want to
ended up
check out
going
that
with this.
video, search on
Yep.
the Rare Barrel channel. We did a video of the sampling itself. It was pretty cool, and we did it in kind of our whiskey bunker.
Yep. Down at 7A's.
Yep.
Also, the new year's upon us. You might want to consider getting on the wait list for the whiskey club down there
Yes.
at 7A's Liquor. Big thing coming there for
Yep.
next year. This one comes in at 113.5 proof. And it's 4 years, 11 months, so almost 5 years old, but it sips like an 8-year-old.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But this one here, when we tried it that night, we went on a journey of like complexity. This one gives you something different with every sip.
Yeah. Their stuff is really unique for that. I mean, being this 5-year-old bourbon, if someone pours you this, you wouldn't even think that. You'd have no idea to predict it. Like if someone goes, "How old do you think that is?" I don't know, 7, 8,
Yep.
8 and a half. I don't know.
Yep.
Not 5, not
No.
even. You know, it's like it's pretty crazy on how they do that.
Yeah. But you get your incredible quintessential notes on the nose.
Oh yeah, it's a high rye.
Yep, that's true. Yep. So higher rye generally, so most of your low rye bourbons are going to be that 10 to 12%. Anything over that's going to be considered a high rye.
It's tasty.
Huh?
It's tasty.
Yeah. I keep selling bottles of this stuff. Just give everybody a little try. They're like, "Oh, I want that."
Yeah. So
And for what? Like $50?
yeah, it's normally like $70, and we bought this barrel, and because we bought the entirety, it was cheaper. So I think it's like 55, and it's like just a smoking deal. I mean,
Man,
you're
that's
getting it for
good.
cheaper, and this is a great gift because it's one of those elevated experiences that
Yep.
most people wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, if you support us, that's also obviously awesome as well.
Right.
You know, that's kind of the whole niche of this, and that's why we're kind of doing it. But yeah, it's definitely one to check out at the store for sure.
Great timing as Christmas is
Yeah.
coming upon us. And you
Great
may be like, "Oh, man, I forgot to get my dad a gift for this Christmas season." Here it is, right here. This one, we also have covered a few other single barrels that we've collaborated on and had a good time with. So
Yeah,
go check those out.
And if you catch this, we'll cut this up probably.
Yep.
And if you mention that you saw this and you came in to pick it up from that, I might throw you a discount or two. I'll let people know. So
there you go.
so come stop by, scoop up a store pick. You'll probably see a few videos on that going forward here from us. But yeah,
Winning.
winning.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Go pick it up. 7A's Liquor down in Bloomington, Minnesota. But without further ado,
Yep.
let's get to the fantasy football.
Yeah. So for most of you guys watching this, this is probably your fantasy football semifinal. So you win this week and you're going on to the championship. So to say that this is the most important week of the year is probably an understatement. But when you're making your decisions on who to play in your lineup this week, it all comes down to being who's more prepared, you or your opponent. So I have done this for quite a long time now, and I've done a lot of research studies, and these are the things that I think you should focus on for this week.
Here we go.
So first of all, some of the things you should check out is
Take
that
notes. Take notes, y'all.
a team that is actually still in the fight in regards to making the playoffs or having a chance to make the playoffs, win their division, the teams that are actually playing for something or have a reason to win are the ones you would rather have in your lineup because they're going to play the entirety of the game. They're going to play motivated. They have the chance to, have those explosive plays. Whereas a team that, maybe is eliminated, the players won't play as motivated, or they might have some of the young guys come in, mix in. So that just becomes really scary. Obviously, if you have some really good players on bad teams, you probably have had to play them all the way through. And if you still made it, you still got to probably use them. You can't not.
Right.
But just if you have that, like, ooh, if I should start this guy at flex, okay, is this guy playing the playoffs or is this guy not?
Yep.
That's how I would make my decision personally. That has always been the difference for me because when it comes down to it, these guys are playing for something. They want to play, into January, and that's kind of the stick on that. And then another thing to check this time of year that's really, really important, it's probably more important than like who's fighting, is the weather. So these games that are played outside, they have a factor. The elements have a factor on these games. So like when I say that like you should target matchups that are either indoors, so as in like the weather's not a factor, or the ones that are in favor of a positional player than others. So in colder weather games, running backs have more value than receivers.
Sure.
Because they're going to have to run the ball in the game in order to be successful.
Yep.
And so vice versa. In warm weather games, it's not a factor.
Right.
Then you're playing your player and it's not the same with the inside, whatever.
Yep.
And so it's really important to use that information, try to check those forecasts, 24 to 48 hours beforehand, just because that is a difference in whether or not you win.
Yep.
You don't want to play a quarterback in a cold weather game where all they do is run the ball.
Exactly.
He's not going to have 4 touchdown passes and he's not going to throw for 300 yards. Whereas a guy that plays indoors in a shootout might.
Right.
So that's very, very important. You're in the last week of the season. You just got to be smart. And then lastly, the 2 positions that I can't stress enough the importance, and it comes down to on a week-to-week basis, is that your defense is playing against a really bad opponent this time of year, because they can be the difference in whether you win your week or not. Like this past week, the Eagles absolutely stifled the Raiders. I think they gave up like 75 yards of total offense, no points. I think they scored like 16 or 17 fantasy points in comparison to like a Denver Broncos defense that's really good.
Right.
Only scored like 6 points.
Yep.
That's a 10-point difference, even though by far the Broncos defense is better. It's all about matchups. And then lastly, your kicker. You have to play a kicker that has a high percentage field goal opportunities in each game. This last week we've seen a couple kickers have 4 or 5 field goals, some 6. Those are the difference in whether or not you win your matchup. Like this past week in one league, I won by like 12. And I had the Eagles defense and Jason Myers.
Yep.
If I didn't have both those guys on my roster, I would have lost.
Toast.
So it really is important when it comes to this time of year. Like, who cares if that kicker is like the 3rd best kicker in fantasy? If he's got a bad matchup this week or next week or whatever, drop him, pick up a guy who's got a better matchup. You have to win this week. Otherwise, you don't play in the playoff championship. There's no reason to hold guys. And lastly, I just want to say, wish everyone best of luck that's either watched or helped out or enjoyed some of our fantasy talk here. When it comes down to it, these last 4 months, we've partaken in a lot of fantasy football coverage.
Yep.
I never envisioned of this day happening in my life, let alone, for anybody to learn anything from it. So I just want to say thank you. Hopefully you guys can win this one and you guys have a chance in the fantasy championship next week. And then maybe we'll give you some last
there we go.
minute advice on that one. And, that's kind of it for what I got for you this week.
Hot dang. Just a bunch of gold nuggets right there for you. Getting ready for the playoffs, semifinals, this week.
Yes.
Now, as the fantasy football season dies down, the NCAA football season is also coming to an end, but it is only heating up.
Correct.
Because we're in playoffs time.
We are. Yeah. So what he's referencing is that we are going to kind of do something fun here. So we are going to call it the CFP playoff bracket. And we want to engage you guys in the comments. Feel free to drop down as well in your matchups, and we'll list these matchups as 1, 2, 3, 4 in order, and we'll talk about them. And then you could give us who you think's going to win, because we're going to do a little competition between the two of us here.
Dang, Skippy.
And see who ends up being right in the end. So obviously we're not going to go in chronological order here, because we're going to go based on the bracket. So in the first matchup which is going to actually be on Saturday night at 6:30, you have Oregon taking on James Madison. So who do you have in this one?
Well, I don't see a big upset happening here.
Okay.
I'm going with our boys at Oregon.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think it's the safe play. I know they're favored by quite a bit, and so I just think this is one where it's like, let's not like overthink it. I think Oregon is a team in general that might be better than like their actual seeding. Like they lost to Indiana. That's their loss this year.
Right.
They're obviously the undefeated number 1 seed. So I think this is one you don't think about, and I got Oregon as well. And then in game 2, this is probably the one that's going to be the closest.
This one's going to be nuts.
Yeah, and so obviously on Friday night, you have Oklahoma taking on Alabama. And an interesting note on this one is Oklahoma is actually canceling all classes for the day on this one.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, so they want people to get hyped. They want people to show up, show out. So if you guys remember this game a couple weeks back, Oklahoma did get the win in Tuscaloosa.
Sure.
So my question to you is do you think at home Oklahoma beats them for a second time?
Tuscaloosa. Shout out Mike from whatchamacallit. We'll figure it out later.
Okay.
I'm going to go with just to keep it spicy.
Okay.
I'm going with Oklahoma.
Okay. All right. And I can't argue with you. They've been a better team. You know, they beat them.
Yeah.
You know, in this last one, I would be lying if you couldn't tell who I was probably voting for. And the only reason I say this is that this Oklahoma team under Brent Venables hasn't been put in this situation yet. They haven't been in the CFP playoff format in terms of like that pressure. And Alabama has a lot of guys that have been there.
Yep.
And I just think that this has a makings of being a field goal game as well. I do think this one will be, whereas that other game might be more of a blowout. This one I think will be a very close game.
That's what's going to make this one interesting, and that's what makes this kind of decision between the two of us a little bit tighter and a little bit more. It could go either way.
It could go either way. So I am going to take the Tide.
I'm only taking Oklahoma because I got to keep it spicy.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go with the Tide on this one. I do think it ends up being like 24-21 if I had to guess the score one way or another. Whether Oklahoma wins or not, you know, obviously the thing that's will be interesting is no matter who wins this game, they obviously play number 1 ranked Indiana next week, and that will be a phenomenal game to watch no matter who wins this one. So that's great. Let us know, obviously, as what you think. I think this is probably going to be the closest matchup of the 4.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. And then for our third game on the bracket, you have Ole Miss taking on Tulane.
Tulane?
Yeah, Tulane. As much as I would like to say that I have faith in this team, both these teams lost their coach.
Oh, dang, that's right.
So both these teams don't have their coach that they've had all season. They now have interim coaches, I believe.
Very controversial at Ole Miss.
Maybe Tulane's coach is sticking around. I have to do some more research. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that Lane Kiffin is definitely not there for Ole Miss.
That's going to be rough.
So that changes things. So
that
I don't know.
changes things big time.
Yeah. So do you think we see a Tulane upset with Jake Ratliff at quarterback against Ole Miss, or do you think Ole Miss, even without their coach, gets it done?
Oof, that's a tough one. Ole Miss has won some pretty big ones.
They've won some good ones, but they've also looked
lost
sketchy.
Some really big ones.
Yeah, they've looked sketchy at times too. It's tough.
This is going to be a tough one.
I think this could be the swing game.
Yeah, it could.
I think it could be the one that kind of shocks people.
I might stick with Ole Miss.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to see what happens.
Okay. And as much as I want to go at Tulane here, I really, really want to see the rematch, which was Ole Miss versus Georgia earlier this season.
Oh, yeah.
And so the reason why I say that Ole Miss wins this game is not that I actually think that they're that much better than Tulane, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
It's actually that I think that these players are out to prove a point that they didn't need the coach. Like, you know, so you know what I mean? Like, there's that dynamic, and we've talked about it numerous times, where when a coach gets fired and there's a new guy that takes in, the new guy that's coming in as the head coach is actually the defensive coordinator. So he's not somebody that hasn't been there before. You know, he knows these guys, he knows the team, and the only thing he's going to be questioned is, do they have the same leadership on offense as they've had all year?
Right.
And so I don't think I think the spread's pretty large in this one, like 13.5. But either way, it'll be one that I think Ole Miss will, I think, avenge this victory and shut the doubters down on Lane Kiffin.
There it is.
And then the last one, we have Texas A&M taking on Miami on Saturday morning. And then obviously that Ole Miss and Tulane game is Saturday afternoon. So I'll go first on this one. I'll change it up just to make it fair. I'm going upset.
Really?
I think Texas A&M is definitely the better team, but for something about this for me, as I've said all year long, that Marcel Reed's a very good quarterback.
Yep.
But something about Texas A&M to me does not read or spell legit. And I don't know what it is, if it's just like a intuition, but I saw it in the Texas game.
Yep.
They just got outplayed. I mean, I think Miami's got more NFL players on it.
Sure.
If that's what I really break it down to. I think Carson Beck has a lot of people that he has to prove wrong.
Yeah.
And this would be a game that would, kind of solidify that. They did this in this last game. They smoked that one team like 38-7. I think this is a game that Miami shocks people, and they do pull off the upset, even on the road.
Dang.
So that's my pick on that one.
So this is the second tightest spread.
Texas
Texas A&M.
Yes, this should be the second closest.
Texas A&M minus 3.5.
I was going to say 3.5 probably, yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to stick with them. I'm gonna stick with the Texas boys.
Okay.
I think they're gonna pull it off.
I don't think that's not going to happen. I as much as I think that's very.
We gotta
probable.
keep it spicy.
Yeah, you got to keep it interesting. So
If we both just pick the same thing, that's very boring.
That's a little boring. That's a little boring. But the next matchups will be a little bit more controversial,
right?
Because you have obviously maybe some closer matchups, a
little bit tighter.
So
just to run down the spread really quick.
Yep.
We've got Alabama at -1.5.
Okay.
Interesting.
Slightly favored. Interesting. Yep. Okay.
Texas A&M, like I said, -3.5, and then we've got Ole Miss at -17.5.
Yeah.
And then Oregon at -21.5.
Yeah. So, I think we both agreed on the big spread games, and I think we both kind of went with the other option to keep it spicy. So there's a good chance Oklahoma wins, and there's a good chance Miami wins, and then we're even.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we could easily be 3-1, or one of us is 2. Somebody's either going to be 4-0,
right, or
somebody's going to be like 3-1 or 2-2.
Yep.
That's going to be how it is.
It's going to be good. So tune in next week, Tuesday, when we reveal and see where everything shook out.
Yeah, and then be on the lookout for the following Thursday, and we'll predict the next set of matchups.
Yep.
So feel free to play along with us here, see what your records is, drop your suggestions down there. We'll see if anybody's perfect throughout this run.
Boom, let's do some hoops.
Let's do some hoops. Yeah, so on the NBA side, there's obviously a lot of games. And on Thursday, we'll start with the Thunder. We'll host the Clippers. And their first game since losing that semifinal game of the Commissioner Cup. Yep. They play a lot of games. They play 3 in the next 4 days. So they play on Thursday. And then you also have the Nuggets hosting the Magic. Two really good playoff teams there.
Yep.
The Magic are without Franz Wagner for a little while. He's got a little injury, but nonetheless, that'll be a good matchup. And then in what I believe, not only because I'll be there, but in the game of the weekend.
Let's go.
I think on Friday you have the Timberwolves hosting the Thunder in prime time.
Prime time, baby.
Yep, 8:30 start time here. Late one. But nonetheless, this is a game that's obviously must watch. These teams have a lot of history of late, and they are going to be the teams that are going to be the ones that you have to watch out for in the West. Like, it just is what it is. The question is by Friday, do we see Anthony Edwards?
Yeah.
That's the question, because that changes the results entirely. Obviously, no Anthony Edwards. I don't like our chances.
Right.
He elevates that experience to have us, maybe have a chance to win this one. But this is probably the best Friday slate I've seen in recent history, and I'm probably not going to watch much of any of it because Bama plays Oklahoma on Friday night. But you have the Knicks hosting the 76ers. You have the Celtics hosting the Heat, and then you have the Hawks hosting the Spurs. This is a full slate of games. I believe that all 8 of these teams we just talked about, all 8 make the playoffs this year.
Yep.
So I think if you want to talk about prime time basketball action on your docket, you couldn't ask for a better Friday slate. Set up like 3-4 TVs, just get all the NBA coverage going, maybe throw in a college football game here and there.
Yep.
And you couldn't ask for a better Friday night.
Exactly.
So, but
and you know what? Go pick up a bottle of this.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a perfect day.
It would be the perfect day.
Yes, it would. And then as we transition into more of that Saturday weekend vibes, you got the Nuggets hosting the Rockets, which is another meeting of the 2 best centers in the league.
Yep.
As we've talked about in the past, it's just these teams play each other 3 or 4 times a year, and it's whenever they play, it's awesome. And then you also have the Raptors hosting the Celtics in a matchup of 2 top teams in the East.
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4, right?
Hot dang.
Yep. So, I mean, it's just you got some really good teams playing against each other. It just makes for great action.
Celtics are on a 2-loss streak right now.
Yes, they lost a couple bad ones, to be honest. They lost to the Bucks that they shouldn't have. And they lost to the Pistons. But then on Sunday, you have the Timberwolves also be at that one, host the shorthanded Bucks. It should be a game, no matter who's in the lineup, that they should win. They are a way better team than this Bucks team is. But, you can't count everybody out. You got to see what happens, and you got to play the games.
I want to get that Christian Bale soundbite when he went off on set that one time. He was like, "Oh, good for you." Every time you mention, I'll be at that
game. But yeah, okay, that's fair. That does get annoying, I guess.
No. I like it, but I'm just gonna have that soundbite.
Okay, I got you. And then you also have the Hawks will host the Bulls, and the Knicks will host the Heat. Just some really great basketball action all weekend.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, if you got nothing else to do, at least you can watch some great basketball. Because then into Monday, you also have the Thunder hosting the Grizzlies, and then the Warriors hosting the Magic. Just an awesome slate of games. Obviously, we could talk about the breakdowns of each game, what to watch out for, the spreads, who to bet on, who to whatever, which we will. We will, I promise. We will get to that. We just want it to be one of those things where it's not like just throwing too much info at you.
Right.
And we want to do that where it's, more focused on the NBA, and so that people that are NBA fans that really enjoy it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's kind of what I got on the NBA docket.
Let's talk a little bit about the NHL, which in our last episode on Tuesday, if you didn't catch it, you should go watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's heating up.
It is heating up, and I've played hockey my whole life, and I've never been more excited to watch it than I have this last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And partially because, it makes it a lot easier to talk about it, but, it also makes it a lot easier to be a fan of the changes that are happening. Like normally you're just accustomed to it's staying the norm.
Yep.
And so like what's been happening is that starting on Thursday, you have the Wild going on the road to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. I love our chances in this one.
Yeah.
4 years ago, I'd say we lose that game.
Yep.
And that's the thing that's changed for me, and that's the thing that's super awesome. But then you have the Sharks will host the Stars, and that'll be a nice game. They've played each other a few times already this year, and they've played a few close ones. That Sharks team is very young, but they are hungry. So that Pacific Division in hockey with like the Sharks and the Kings and the Ducks and the Mammoth,
the
Kraken. It's a fun division, great names, but young teams.
Yep.
But then also, as we transition into Friday's action, you have the Panthers hosting the Hurricanes. Obviously, two good teams there. The Panthers have had some serious struggles this year. They've had a couple injuries. Obviously, you can't control these things. They happen. You can't stay on the mountaintop forever. Two-time defending champs. It might not be their year this year, but either way they're gonna battle.
They're in the lower half of their division.
Yeah, they are.
Panthers are. At least.
Yes, they are. And then you also have the Avalanche hosting the Jets,
who are the top of everything.
Yeah, they are the top of the top. And then you have the Ducks hosting the Stars.
That's where all the avalanches come from.
Yes,
it's from the top.
They do. Yep. That is true. That is nothing wrong about that. But yeah, either way, that's some great Friday action. And then Saturday. This is one that I'm actually super pumped about because I think there's actually some break in the action for me to kind of catch this game. You have the Wild will host the Oilers.
Let's go.
I just love watching those guys play, McJesus and Drysdale. And then obviously the Wild have been awesome this year. So this gets me really excited. I think this is a game that, might be that high scoring affair potentially, but although we have had some great goaltending, so maybe we stifle them. That'd be great, winning like 5-2 against the Oilers.
That would be fun.
But the Oilers obviously have been to the Stanley Cup the last 2 years, so very good team.
Yep.
They're very battle tested, so it'll be a good game.
I like it. Yeah. I like all the moves we've made to make this a tighter game.
Yeah, I agree. And then also you have the Capitals hosting the Detroit Red Wings, and then the Canadians hosting the Penguins. The Red Wings are that team that's kind of flying under the radar.
Yeah.
You don't watch them a lot. You probably sure as heck don't hear about them a lot because the biggest thing in Detroit right now is probably the Pistons.
Yeah.
And maybe the Lions for some people.
But they are number 2 in their division.
They are number 2 in their division. Yeah, the Red Wings are a team that you should not ignore. Obviously, I'm a huge Capitals fan in terms of Ovechkin, but that would be a good game to watch nonetheless. And then, I guess we can just transition to Sunday in a must-see game of the weekend. This is the game of the weekend.
This is it.
You have the Wild hosting the Avalanche.
Holy balls.
Yes. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we were the team that beat them last.
Oh, dang. Yeah. Let's go.
So we'll see. It's definitely one to, this could be your playoff, semifinal preview. Like, it's very possible. Like, these are two teams that are going to be playing a lot this year, obviously in the same division. But it's going to be a good one. I must see TV for me on Sunday. Your Sunday slate is going to be jam-packed, man.
Jam-packed,
baby. A lot of good basketball, a lot of good hockey. There's a lot of good football. You also have the Red Wings hosting the Capitals on the second night of a back-to-back. And then the Oilers hosting the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So great games.
Wow.
Phenomenal. So you hockey fans out there, and maybe if you're not a big football or basketball guy, you have plenty to watch. Plenty to watch. And then lastly, just because why not, on Monday you have the Ducks hosting the Kraken. And then the Kings hosting the Blue Jackets.
Let's go.
The Kings are kind of that other team that, maybe are flying under the radar for a lot of people. I believe that they are either first or second in their division.
They're third.
Yeah. So, well, they're close, though. They're close.
Yeah, they're very close.
Yeah, it's tight. That division's within like 3 or 4 points.
Yeah, 37-41 between them and the Ducks.
Correct. So it's very close. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of young and hungry teams in that side. So some of them will make the playoffs, and they might not be favored in those playoff matchups, but it's a stepping stone for the future.
Whew.
But yeah,
there you have it.
There's a lot of hockey coverage that was broken down there.
Yep, a lot of sports coming up.
Yeah,
it just keeps getting busier.
Yeah,
as we keep on grinding through this bad boy. A lot of awesome stuff, like we said, to watch this weekend. So make sure and tune in, and if you can, make it down to Bloomington, pick up a bottle of this or any of their other incredible store picks they have, and make your weekend warm and toasty.
Absolutely.
Until next time, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our other social media platforms, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.